By the end of this video, you'll have 5 key secrets of why clothing brands actually become successful and how they reach a wider audience that fall in love with their brand. These 5 things can be applied to any industry or any niche, so whether your brand is in activewear or streetwear, these apply to you. But before we get into that, let me give you a bit of context about me. My name is Anthony and I've started the journey of building an activewear brand. For the last few months, I've been trying to master the skills required to start a brand from the ground up, and I've set myself the goal of sharing every bit of knowledge with people just like you. The plan on this YouTube channel is to document the ins and outs of running and starting a clothing brand, and it's currently the start of the journey, which is perfect timing for you because you get to see everything right from the beginning. I've spent the last few months analyzing some of the most successful brands and seeing the key things that they do to reach such high levels, which is what I'll be sharing with you by the end of this video. I don't usually ask this, but I have 2 requests from you. The first thing is that I encourage you to watch to the end so that you can get full value from this video. It's literally less than 10 minutes of your time, and in return you get some free value. Second thing is that if you do get good quality value from this video, then I do ask that you subscribe to the channel. It will only help me get better production and then also share more value in the future. If you ask me, I think that's a pretty fair deal. As promised, let's get into the 5 key things that these successful brands are doing, which is setting them apart from you and your brand. When starting out, you need to fail fast, and the best way for me to explain this is by teaching you about feedback loops. Everything that you try in your business is going to have 2 outcomes. It's either going to succeed or it's going to fail. The more times that you can go round this feedback loop and understand what works, the better. Successful brands are able to go through these feedback loops really quickly, which helps them understand what works and what doesn't work, which then allows them to double down on what does work. One example is testing what designs sell well. They don't dwell on perfecting a certain design and instead create multiple versions. They then see what sells well, and then for the upcoming collections they base it off that design. This leads us up to the next point really nicely, and it's all about design. As a clothing brand owner, you need to become comfortable with designing not only graphics but also understanding textures, patterns, fabrics, and so much more. These big brands, when they first started out, would have the founder, which is the person who started the brand, just like you and me, designing everything. Paying someone, especially in the beginning, to create designs for your brand just doesn't make sense. It usually takes a few weeks for the designs to come in, and then they end up being mediocre, which eats into your time and then also into your capital. A few softwares that I recommend that you learn are Photoshop, Illustrator, and Clo3D, and honestly just get comfortable with designing. The next thing that you need to focus on when building a clothing brand is building a list of trusted suppliers and manufacturers. Every successful brand is able to effectively and efficiently communicate to a factory the certain type of garment and design that they want. Just like you and me, these factories, they're running a business, they're trying to grow a business, so they want to be able to provide a good service and good quality products to people, which means for you, you need to be able to effectively communicate to these factories exactly what you want. Alibaba is a good place where you can find good manufacturers. There are certain things that you do want to look out for though. One of the things that you want to look out for is how long the factory has been operating for. Obviously, the more years behind them, the better. I usually go for factories that have been operating for at least 5 or more years. And you also want to be looking at whether they are certified suppliers on Alibaba or not. If you're new to the clothing industry, then I recommend that you go away and research the term tech packs and learn how to create them. These are essentially documents detailing every single detail about a garment, and it helps effectively communicate to a manufacturer exactly what you want them to create for you. There are so many brands within the clothing space, which means that the only way that you'll sell and get people to buy into your brand is by being different and unique. I can't emphasize this enough, but you need to develop a unique message and creative style for your brand from day one. There are 3 main ways that people get sold on buying into your brand. First, through good design and pieces that people actually want to wear. Second is the feeling that people feel when they see your brand, and this is created by how you position your brand to the market. And then finally, the last point I'll be mentioning at the end of the video in a few minutes, so make sure to keep watching. Every successful brand will make their target audience feel a certain way, and it's no different for your brand. A few different ways that you can be unique is, for example, your photography and videography style, the way that you create and position your website, the content that you push out on your social media. Literally so many ways, you just have to think out the box a little. The last point of the video that I'll be mentioning is about community. This word gets thrown around a lot these days, but let's take a step back and actually understand what the word community means. Community is the condition of sharing or having certain attitudes and interests in common. It's human nature to want to be part of something, whether that's a family, a group, a cult, etc. Humans are psychologically wired to be attracted to communities, and as a clothing brand, you can use this to your advantage. Building a community doesn't just mean attracting a social following. It's about aligning your brand message with the interests and common goals of your target audience. You essentially want your target audience to feel at home when they see your brand. For example, if I was building a women's wear activewear brand, my main message might be a brand to empower women's strength. And based on this message and purpose, I would then create and post social media content which helps inspire other women. Implementing and focusing on these 5 things will help separate your brand from the ordinary brand out there. If you need to, rewatch the video, take notes and execute on what you've learned. I did also mention earlier in the video that I've started the journey of building my own clothing brand, and a few weeks ago I received the first sample from my manufacturer, and if you would like to see me unboxing that first sample, then click this video up here.